Hey guys, kinggath here, and in this video we're going to go over some of the features SimSettlements adds to aid your immersion and make your settlements feel more alive. The first thing we're going to talk about is random clutter, and then we're going to talk about the VIP system. So one of the things you'll notice if you go inside of your settlers' houses is that they have a lot of random little things laying around their homes, whether it be in the drawers, on top of cabinets, on shelves, etc. And a lot of that stuff is generated on the fly, and each time you visit your settlement, it might change. And it will definitely be different each time you create a new version of that same building, so that you don't feel like every single one is identical, and it also should give you a sense that there are actually people living their lives here as opposed to these static spaces that never ever change. Now, for the most part, all of the residential plots and commercial plots will make use of this. Not all of the industrial and other ones will make use of this feature, and then when it comes to add-on packs, it really depends on add-on pack to add-on pack. Though if you look in the descriptions on Nexus, you'll find that there is a little list of features that the add-on packs are covering, so you can find out there if you can expect the random clutter. Now, it's one of those things that's very subtle, and for the most part you won't notice it, especially if you're on Xbox and have the clutter turned off in general. But if you are a high-end PC player or an Xbox One X user and you're looking to see what your settlers are up to, I highly recommend taking a peek inside their homes, especially because of the VIP system. So in front of me is a VIP, and I'm going to show you how you can identify them. But first I want to talk about one of the easiest ways to tell if you've got a VIP or not. And it's especially easy for once you've gotten experienced with SimSettlements and you understand what all of the buildings are supposed to look like. So if you're the type of player who likes to select the building plans, like you like to go up to the ASAM sensor and specifically tell your settlers what to build, and you ever find that one of them builds a different house than you told them to, that's a good sign you've got yourself a VIP. It could also be just a delay that it didn't catch your interaction with the ASAM sensor fast enough, because this game doesn't always respond perfectly to scripts, but most of the time it means you probably have a VIP. Now, the way you can identify VIPs for certain is to go take a peek inside of their homes and see if you see any common theme among the clutter you find. For example, in here you'll find that there are some Children of Atom pieces, some nuclear material, glowing fungus, the top half of a mini nuke, and things like that. And that's a good sign when you see all those things that are coming up that have something in common, that you found yourself a VIP. If you instead find that there are just random little trinkets and things that you can't think of any connection for, it's probably just the normal random clutter. Now, the randomness of the clutter could make it hard to identify a VIP at level 1 because it's a little more subtle. So like I've just shown you there, all of those like nuclear themed things are there to give you a sense of it, but some of the others aren't quite as on the nose. But once you get to level 2 or level 3 with a VIP, it is very, very apparent that you've got one. They'll have a clear theme going on with their home, and a lot of them have gigantic set pieces to make their version of the home stand out. Some of them even have secrets inside you can find. So I highly recommend you explore through your settlers' homes to see what they've got going on. Now, occasionally you're going to find an NPC wandering around your settlement that doesn't have the name settler, or they won't have the name of a person if you happen to be using a mod that names all of your settlers. Instead, they'll have the name of some sort of profession. These are visitors. So one of the things we wanted to capture, especially with the city plans in SimSettlements, is the feel that your town is an actual town and not just the people that you left there or just the people living there. So we've introduced a visitor system, and the more recreational and commercial plots you have, the more likely you are to attract visitors. Visitors will hang out at your settlement, and they will make use of these shops and recreational plots, and they will spend their caps. And at the end of every day, you'll get a share of the revenue that those visitors bring in. So they're a way to add a little bit more life to your settlement. Now, keep in mind with the new user wizard, that feature was likely disabled unless I changed the things between this video and that patch. But the idea there is that a lot of players were confused about these settlers they suddenly couldn't control, so I didn't want to cause a problem problem with that. So if you're looking for this feature, if you really like the idea of that, head into the holotape under gameplay options and immersion, and you'll find the visitor setting, which you can turn on. You can also change the visitors to limited. So if you find that you're having performance issues with all of these NPCs running around your settlement, or you just feel like there are too many of them and it feels unimmersive, you can knock them down a peg and it will limit them to just a small amount. Now, the number of visitors that show up each day is tied directly to the number and level of recreational and commercial plots you have. So if you want to see more visitors show up in your settlements that aren't city plans, ones that you're building yourself, just make sure you stack up on those two plot types. Now, you might have just heard some dogs barking in the background, and that is part of the dynamic soundscape. Now, please note the dynamic soundscape requires that you're using either the 3-in-1 version of Sim Settlements or you have Rise of the Commonwealth installed. Now, that may change in the future as we're able to further and further shrink down the size of the files, but in general, we consider that a core feature of Rise of the Commonwealth to make sure that we can separate out those file sizes for people who have issues with bloating up their mod size limits, especially those on Xbox. So the idea behind the dynamic soundscape is we wanted your cities to feel like the actual thing that they are. Rather than everything having just the sound of generators and occasional people hammering away in Sanctuary, we wanted your settlements to each have their own unique feel. So based on the different plots you have built, the dynamic soundscape will adjust to lean toward that direction. So if you have a lot more commercial plots, you're going to start to have kind of a market feel. In your residential areas, you're going to hear conversations and sounds of people in their homes doing little things. You're going to find animals as if pets. You'll sometimes hear gunshots in the background, little chimes of music, and just things to evoke the feeling that you're actually in a living, breathing city and not just in a lifeless, blank settlement. So one of the things that you can do to adjust the dynamic soundscape, if you're looking to have a little control over it, outside of just the volume controls that are available in the Sim Settlements holotape, you can start to cluster your plots together. So if you're really looking to get the feel of an industrial area in your settlements, just build more industrial all in the same general vicinity, and the system will catch on to that and adjust the dynamic soundscape accordingly. The dynamic soundscape also adapts to the level of your settlement. So based on your plots, your settlement is given an invisible score. And the higher the level of that score, based on the levels of those plots, the more advanced the sounds will get. So as your city evolves from the lower level to the higher level, the sounds will have less of a criminal element to them and will start to become more of a luxurious sound, as if this is a developed city that has its own sets of rules and regulations, and so is less impartial to crime. So you're going to find that the soundscape will actually evolve not only with as your settlement is built, but also as the plots level up. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the immersion features in Sim Settlements. It's something we're always looking to expand on. So stay tuned for additional videos as we dive in deeper into more of the features and mechanics of Sim Settlements.